In that very moment, we were told that my husband has cancer. We were told that the cancer cells were very active and that he needed to start chemotherapy in 2 weeks' time. We had just gotten married about 5 days before finding out that he had cancer. Having to fly back an emergency flight back to England to find out this news was heartbreaking. We looked at each other in shock. We couldn't believe this is what we were coming home to. As he was in hospital and I was home alone, I would just cry. I would cry, not being able to control how I felt. Although at the same time I'm trying to be strong as a wife, but seeing your husband in pain in the hospital bed, with you not being able to do anything, with the doctor saying this is it, you know, we need to do chemo, and then in the future look to operate and remove the tumour, which means he'd be off work for about 2 years and he won't be able to walk, he won't be able to speak properly, he won't be able to move the side of his face where the tumour was. I was in the church and I decided to turn the situation around by using my faith. We started doing purposes, I started praying, I started using my faith and changing my mindset, not thinking that this will happen in a negative way, but something positive will come out of this, that this situation can change. The day that he went to go and sign the papers for the chemotherapy, he was told that he no longer has to do the chemotherapy because the cancer cells have stopped. And when he told me this, I was in so much shock and so happy that God had really answered and changed and began to change the situation around. Now my husband is cancer-free. We are so happy. I love him so much, more than even before. And I can see that so many other things, positive things are going to be happening for both of us because our faith, using our faith has never let us down.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Finding Answers. Now, no man is an island. No matter what anyone says, no one likes to be alone, whether you're male, whether you're female. No one wants to end up being alone in life. And if you say to yourself, you know what, I like being alone, well, I don't believe you. Maybe you think that way, you hold that opinion because of things that have happened to you in the past. Maybe you've been hurt so many times by the opposite sex that you've come to the point where you say, you know what, I don't trust men, I don't trust women anymore. It's best if I stay single. Maybe you are in a relationship now and you're not happy in that relationship. You know, you are finding it hard to get along with that person, though deep down you love them. You love this person. But it's like every time you try to change or try to help your relationship to develop, things go wrong again. And it's like, am I really ever going to be happy? So tonight's topic is, how can I improve my relationship? Let's take a look at this video to explain more about tonight's topic.
Relationships are one of the most important parts of our lives. Having positive interactions in our lives provides us with an enormous amount of satisfaction. The basic relationship needs that we have are because we cannot fulfill these needs ourselves. Psychologists call these our dependency needs, because we are dependent on others to meet them. Relationships provide us with companionship and belonging, verbal and physical affection, and even emotional support and validation. These can come from friendships, relationships with parents, relationships with children, as well as in partnerships. This will include sharing your day-to-day life with someone, your interests and your motivations. So why is it that some people seem to have perfect relationships with everyone in their lives, but others seem to struggle with finding friends or a partner? There could be many reasons, such as attachment issues stemming from childhood, to feelings of not belonging anywhere in life. But not having your relationship needs met can lead to feelings of loneliness and sometimes into hopelessness or even depression. But improving relationships can start with you. With the right mindset and some practical help, you can start a journey to improve the relationships in your life.
So there you have it. That's tonight's program. Okay, and if you want to phone in at any time with your opinions, or you have something to say, maybe want to speak to someone regarding this, maybe you want to come live on air to talk about any relationship issues. But if you say, you know what, I'm lonely in love, I want to find that right person, or how do I improve my relationship? If you find you're in a dead-end situation, you know, you want to give your best to your partner, or your partner's trying to, you know, make things work, but it's like there's something between you that always messes things up, then you can give us a call. Hi, Victoria.
Hiya.
What are the contact details?
If you'd like to speak to one of our advisors, our number is 020 7686 6300, or you can send us an email. Our email address is help@findinganswers.tv. Or if you'd like to talk to us via social media, you can send us a tweet. Just start your tweet with @FindAnswersTV, or search for us on Facebook. Just search for Finding Answers.
So there you go. Feel free to give us a call, contact us in any way related to tonight's subject. Now, as usual, Victoria has some facts that she found out regarding tonight's subject, right?
Yeah.
So you found some interesting things about relationships.
I found out some things to do with people's physical state, actually, which is quite interesting. And a lot of studies have been conducted into people who have meaningful and long-lasting relationships. And I found that people with strong social relationships are 50% less likely to die prematurely. People who are married can add 3 years to their life. Buffers of stress occur when you have a strong social circle. So if you have lots of friends, when you experience stress, you come out the other side much better off. And a study in 2012 of women with breast cancer found that people who didn't have a lot of relationships in their lives, so they were quite lonely, actually experienced higher rates of depression, experienced more pain and fatigue.
Right. So you see some interesting studies that have been done on relationships. And actually, in general, if my mind serves me right, marriage is going down. Have you read anything about that?
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Marriage, you know, the idea, the concept of marriage, you know, marriages are less and less and less over the past, 10, 20 years or so. There's been a decline in marriage. Do you want to get married? You know, what is it? I remember when the word marriage to me as a young person when I was dating, it frightened me because the thing that came to my mind was prison. You know, I'm tied up. I wanted the best of both worlds. I want to be out with my friends, but also have my girlfriend, or, you know, my relationship with my girlfriend or my wife. So, you know, I didn't say marriage. I used to say the M word. I don't want to get married. I don't want that M word. Don't mention it. That was my idea. And the reason why was because of what I saw at home. My mum had 2 failed relationships and it didn't work. So that had an imprint on my life. It affected me. Marriage, it didn't work for me. It didn't happen for me. I didn't want anything to do with marriage. And, you know, when I did get married, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And I wished I could have actually got married sooner. So, do you want this happy relationship? Do you want this, you know, your life partner? Are you searching for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right? Well, on tonight's program, our couple tonight will be sharing their stories. They have 2 individual stories, but they met, and today they have found a secret to a happy, successful relationship. So, stay tuned. You're going to hear their story, you know, after the break, and learn how to improve your relationship. We'll see you after this.
This is your UCKG timetable. We are open 7 days a week, helping you to make a new beginning. Monday, a meeting focused on achieving more in your financial life. Tuesday, prayers for healing. Wednesday, a meeting teaching you to develop in your spiritual life. Thursday, a special prayer for the family. Friday, a service for your spiritual deliverance. Saturday, Find the One, a service specifically tailored for your love life. Sunday, Reconnect with God, the main meeting for your spiritual strength.
Has the US been steering killer drones? Missiles won't reach Syria for several months.
In the society in which we live, it's not enough to have influence. You need to have and show value. On Saturday, the 18th of April at 4 p.m, the UCKG Help Centre will hold a special meeting directed at women, where the main topic will be a woman's value. You will learn how to build a solid marriage, how to overcome traumas and complexes, how to value yourself, and much more. That is what this special annual event promises. Do not miss the Universal Day for Women. Saturday the 18th of April at 4 p.m. at the Rainbow Theatre.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, if you just joined us, tonight's topic is how to improve my relationship. Now, if you're finding it hard, you're in a relationship right now, whether you are dating someone, whether you are engaged, whether you are married, and you want your relationship to improve, there are certain things that you need to learn. So let's meet our two guests for tonight.
It's pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
So with me on the sofa tonight is a couple, Mary and Samuel Danquah.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having us.
Now, you both have individual stories to tell, and it both involves relationships, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So who should I start off with first?
Ladies first.
Ladies first. Okay, so Mary, how were things before? Because you were very unhappy in your love life.
I really was really unhappy. Growing up, I saw my mum in various relationships and they weren't very good experience. But deep down inside, I always had kind of like the dream of being happy, being married. But going through, but just for university, college times, that's when I started to enter into relationships. And it was to do with a lot of peer pressure at the time. A lot of my friends were in relationships and people just couldn't understand. When I was 18, I was like, you've never had a boyfriend before, what's going on? Look, there's many people out there, join us. So I entered into a relationship out of peer pressure. And at that time, I had lots of insecurities. There was things going on.
How do you have insecurities?
Yeah, well, at home, things weren't always so well at home with finances and stuff within the household. My mum was with her partner at the time, and they weren't getting along. And I would see like almost physical abuse as well. So all of this plus studying at the same time, it took its toll. And then I had like the added pressure from friends and stuff. So I kind of like just gave in, and then I met someone, and you know, without knowing much about him, I just decided to enter into the relationship with that person. Initially things seemed to be okay, but then, you know, I later found out that, you know, the person wasn't who he said he was. So
what did you find
there's certain
out?
things that I found out that, because it was odd, like there were certain times that we had to see each other, and after that time we had to go. There was periods of times where he would go off for months back home, which was Ghana, for months, and then I wouldn't see him for some time. And I always had an inclination like maybe this person's cheating on me, but I didn't want to confront it because I was really insecure, and I just was looking for love, searching for happiness, but looking in the wrong way. But I always stayed in that relationship for fear of being alone. I found out that the person had children, the person had a family back home, and even after finding out this, I still stayed with the person.
So how old were you at this time?
I was around 18 going on 19.
So
at
he
the
was
time.
married
Yeah,
with children.
yeah.
How old is he?
He was around 32 at the time.
Did you know he was 32?
That one I did, but my relationship after that one, I didn't know how old the person was. So that one, I didn't know that he was married and he had a family, but I knew his age at the time.
So you just mentioned about a second relationship.
Yeah.
So obviously the first one broke up.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It got to a point where like family got involved, and there was like, look, this person doesn't seem the right one for you, because the period of time where he was away was getting longer and longer and longer. So it was almost like I was in a relationship, but it was a long distance one.
Okay.
And it was just like, how long could I put up with this? It was like, was in a relationship, but nothing was really going anywhere.
Did you suspect anything was wrong?
At that point, yes, I did. I was like, something is not right. But then I didn't have the strength to end the relationship even then.
Right.
Like, I was so like, made myself so easily available. Like, he probably to some extent took advantage.
Were you that clingy type of person?
I was very clingy.
Right.
And whatever he say, I would do. Like, even if it meant going against my family, I would do it. So it got to a point where I was just like, look, Mary, you know, it got so bad. I was like, no, this just cannot go on any longer. And even at that point, the way I broke up with the person was just like, you know, it was hard. It was really, really hard. And I remember it wasn't just like, oh, we broke up, and then it took some time for me to actually let go and just say, okay, that was it. And then straight after that, I was looking for somebody else. Like, it was just like, I felt really insecure. I felt scared. I felt alone. I felt like, I don't know, like I couldn't go on without someone in my life. So then I found someone else, and I met the person through getting a cab.
Really?
Yeah, I remember the day, Finsbury Park, I was going home, I think from a nightclub or something, and I got into the person's cab. The person showed interest in me, and then that was it.
You shared the same cab?
It was the cab driver, sorry.
Right.
It was the cab driver that drove me home.
Okay.
And then he took interest in me, and then one thing led to another, and I decided to go out with him.
Samuel, we're going to get back to you in a minute.
Okay.
How did things start off with you?
It started off at a very young age, because I lost my biological mum at the age of 7. And then I had to move in with my brothers and sisters, my half brothers and sisters, their parents, or their father. So you can say I was separated from anybody who was close to me that I had a loving bond with. In so doing, from an early age, I had this void of emptiness inside of me that I needed love, wanted to be loved, but I couldn't find anywhere else.
So basically, you didn't have that attention, family.
Didn't have it from family.
So I take it that you were looking for that as you grew up.
I was looking for it.
In women?
In women. It started off with pornography, you know, to be quite frank with you, and I became very hooked on it at the early age. My whole time was just consumed, you know, watching those movies.
But the thing is, you know, nowadays people say that pornography, majority say, oh, it's not a bad thing, it's quite innocent. But there's something underlying there, right? There's a reason why, and it could be a number of reasons why male or females watch pornography. In your case, it was
to fill the need.
Yeah.
It was to fill the void I had inside of me, because there wasn't anything else that can at a time, you know, occupy that void that I had inside of me.
How old
were
were you when you started watching pornography?
At the age of 13.
13.
13. Okay. So there wasn't anything that can fill that void apart from that. And as the more you watch it, the more you want to watch more. The more your mind becomes open to it. And I started experimenting more, more videos and more magazines and whatnot, to the point where I actually wanted to, act it out. I wanted to start dating. I wanted to start, going out with women. So even before the age of consensus, I was actually clubbing at the age of 15. I was sneaking out to my mum and dad's house.
Is that the windows, to find women, specifically
just to find
go
women,
out?
Just to find women.
And find women.
Initially it was hard. It wasn't easy because I had to, I was underage. I had to plug the courage. Then I would start drinking a little bit in a club, just to get the Dutch courage, so to speak. And then I began, dating a few here and there, and then started, sleeping around. And not because I wanted to. I've always had a dream of getting married one day and to find out one person. But that void, it's hard to explain. It's just one thing leading to the next, to the next, to the next. And the more things I did, the more promiscuous I became, the more I was sleeping around, the more I became more, extrovert. I wanted to try new things. And
how long did, your longest relationship last?
It was about 3 years.
3 years?
Which was it was on and off, on and off. Mm-hmm. She was from Poland, and she was trying to find her feet in the country. And there were many issues that she was going through, and I had a lot of baggages as well.
Right.
So there was a lot of problems within the two of us. The relationship wasn't harmonious, to say the least.
She had other intentions.
Had intentions.
And you had your issues that you were going through.
There you go. And though we were on and off for 3 years, it wasn't peaceful. Mm-hmm. I would cheat on her, because every moment we had a little bit of a disagreement, I would then go, because I had been womanizing for many years. So that was who I was. Any issue that I had in a relationship, simply I would just go and find somebody else.
How many relationships did you ever have at one time?
About 10. Shamefully, 10 at one time.
10 women at once. Mm-hmm. How did you hide all 10?
By cheating, lying, deceiving. Even at some point, believe you or not, with some of the girls, I was frank with them, to say, listen, it's only going to be casual, no strings attached. It's not going to go anywhere.
And they felt the same way?
They felt the same way, and they were amicable about it. And I was like, wow.
Did you ever speak to them about your issues, your past? And did they open up to you and tell you, well, look, I was abused or this?
Never. I can never open up to anybody.
Did your female partners ever open up to you? They wouldn't as well.
It's when I look back now, I can really see that I was extremely depressed, and many of them were depressed as well. Right. Because one of the root of why I made so many wrong choices in my love life is that I was insecure. I didn't know how to value myself. I didn't know how to love myself. And in so doing, I made so many wrong choices, even to the point of, contracting STDs and putting my health at risk. I didn't care because I was so lost and so longing for that love that I just did anything.
Tell me how we always hear stories of women being insecure. From a man's point of view, how was it being insecure?
It's the worst low you can ever feel, because I had the aspiration to be happy. I also had ambitions, but being insecure meant that I couldn't be the person I wanted to be. I had to put up a front. For example, even to chat to a woman, I had to drink several drinks before I can actually plug the courage to speak to the person.
Was it your looks? What was it? Because your social status, you weren't, maybe in the job or career that you wanted to, that you had low self-esteem. What was it?
I think it's just the fact of knowing that you want something but you can't get it.
Right.
I remember meeting certain women that I would think to myself, she's way out of my league. This one, I can't approach her. Mm-hmm. And I try so many things. I've traveled the length of the country just to meet a girl. And I'll come all the way down just to try and impress the person.
So where were you at the time, and where did you go to?
I've traveled from Birmingham to Newcastle, even to Bristol. Just to meet and
these were nightclubs and bars.
Nightclubs, you meet them in the night, and then the following day, take them out and whatnot, trying to see if something will come out of it, but then nothing. Right. So having tried, exhausted, invested so much in my love life, and not seeing the success of it, made me even more insecure. Because I think, is there something wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I find somebody decent? Why can't I find somebody who can love me and I can love the person back? And the more the failures went on, the more insecure I became. And even to the point where I gave up on the idea of, you know, being happy. Then decided that let me just play the field.
Mary, did you ever try to find help in, you know, finding the right person? Did you try? You know, lots of people try lots of different things. They go online, speed dating. Was it just 2 relationships that you had? Or
There was
others?
3. There was 3 relationships, and I think, like, I mean, I had a thought of, okay, you know, I could go out there and speed date and that, because I was so insecure. I didn't know how it would pan out, so I thought, okay, let me just play safe and just see if I can find someone myself, or if to be introduced to someone through a friend.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The thing is, sorry to cut you. The thing is, you weren't easy, right? You weren't easy. The thing is, you were disappointed in your love life that you thought, forget about it. Let me just accept anyone. Is that in both
that's
your
basic.
cases?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if you told me that I was easy, no, I wouldn't buy it. But I was looking for something I couldn't find.
Yeah.
You know, so like you said, you just settle for what you can. You know, and hoping that something good will come out of it, but they never came. You know, just chasing the same old thing. It's just like a dog chasing his tail. Just round and round
for me
and
as
round
well,
and round
like, because from like when I was young, I saw my mum in really, you know, abusive relationships that were failed. Even though I had in the back of my mind that I wanted to be married, I always remembered what she went through, and I thought, well, to some degree, I thought, okay, if my mum went through it, then it's almost natural that I will have to go through this first.
Mary, that's exactly the same thought that I had when I saw my mum having fights with my dad, and until they divorced, they separated. And then when it started happening in my relationship, that thought came to me, you know what, accept this. Because it happened to your mum, it's going to happen to you. Accept it.
Yeah.
And, you know, thank God I didn't accept it. And thank God you didn't accept it, right? After the break, we're going to go for a break now. And you're going to find out what they did to change. Because at this point, they hadn't met. You're going to find out how they met and then what they did, because they didn't repeat the same thing. They learned to value themselves. They learned to change things about themselves, their outlook on themselves and their lives. And then they found the right person. You're going to find out after the break more about this. See you after this.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort and homework from you. Introducing the Love Therapy website. Love Therapy can help you find true love and show couples how to enjoy happiness through a successful relationship. So why not click on the Love Therapy website for dynamic, interesting and useful tips on love. You can watch inspirational videos from happy couples sharing their experiences of maintaining relationship strength, and find out when the love therapy meetings are. If you're looking forward to a first date, then the Love Therapy website has 5 tips for that all-important first date. And why not sign up for the Love Therapy newsletter to receive the latest news and events postings? All you need at your fingertips. The Love Therapy website.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight our topic is Help Me Improve My Relationship. So as usual, we've been out and about talking to the general public on the streets of London about this topic.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and family as you want, it just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Chika here on the streets of London for Finding Answers. Tonight we're talking about relationships, and we all know they can be very difficult. But what makes them so difficult? I'm going to find out from the general public. Let's see what they say. In your opinion, what is the hardest thing about relationships?
I think communication, kind of just, talking to each other and about what you feel and stuff. Probably just that.
I probably agree. After sort of 30 plus years of being in a relationship, I'm not sure it sometimes gets really easier. And in fact, we get on better when we email each other and that we're the other side of the world than when we do perhaps, well, we get on, but it's sort of kind of easier to say things by email than talk face to face. So there you go.
Communicate.
Yeah, communicate.
Compromise is the hardest thing, and I think the older you are, the harder it could be to compromise, especially if you're used to doing your own thing. But if you can compromise, then it's well worth it.
That's it. Yeah, I quite agree. That's exactly the same.
I was going to say compromise. That's what I think is probably the most challenging bit. Not that we're together or anything. I was just looking at him to see if he'd back me up. I normally find sometimes the things that make you a man, a woman wants to not necessarily take away from you, but adjust, so we say. Like the way I dress, for example. The places where I'd like to go, I have to tailor that according to obviously what she wants. But that's compromise.
Yeah. No, I think I'm probably on the same note, sort of as compromising, your time, because I've always one for hang out with the boys, having a good time with my mates. And when a girl's in that picture, she doesn't sort of take that away from you, but she wants a lot more of your time. And sometimes I just want to be with my boys. No, real talk, brother. So I think that would be the hardest thing for me.
Okay, some comments of people on the streets of London. Now, if you want to add your comments, feel free to email us. If you want to speak to anyone at any point, the lines are open. You can give us a call. There'll be someone waiting to give you some advice on your relationship, all right? So I want to ask the same questions to you. What do you think is the hardest thing in a relationship?
I would agree with some of the comments there. Communication. I think when there's communication breakdown, that's a big can be a big issue.
And was that in your case in the past?
Yes, it was in my case in my past. And also honesty. Being honest, I found like that was actually a bigger issue for me, because the people my relationships that I had before, I knew that the people were cheating on me or not telling me the truth. And I, went through life thinking that, okay, every relationship that I have, almost becoming a norm, but knowing that it wasn't right, but I didn't have the strength to kind of like fight back and get out of.
And probably you
what it
weren't
was.
honest with yourself, right?
Yeah.
As well, to a point.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't respect yourself. You didn't say, you know what, I need to kind of set rules for my life. You know what, and you weren't honest. You let your heart rule your head.
Yeah.
And some people say, you know, follow your heart. That's one of the worst things you can do.
Yeah.
What about you, Sammy? What do you think was the hardest thing in the past? Apart
In
from
the past-
juggling 10 women at once.
That wasn't easy. It cost me a lot of money as well.
I'm sure it did.
Trust, sincerity, but also using your head instead of using your emotions. Because I just let my emotions lead me wherever I wanted to go. You know, sorry to say, but my trousers did the talking. You know, not my head. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things, but to be sincere and honest and to be transparent.
What was the worst point in your quest to find love?
There's quite a lot of worst points for myself. One of the lowest points was, you know, like I was saying before, the urge that I had inside of me just to have just to have sex. It was so overwhelming to the point where after going into the clubs and, you know, getting drunk and trying to find somebody to go home with, not finding, then I found myself, you know, paying for sex, you know, sleeping with prostitutes. That's one of the lowest points in my life. Not because I wanted to, but this urge is so, you're craving, you know, to have this so badly that I literally will go to any extent for it. Contracting STDs, you know, and that was one of the lowest points in my life as well. And especially coming from the family that I came from.
Yeah.
If anybody knew that I had this was, you know, this would have been the end of me. And to the point where I started thinking of killing myself, you know, committing suicide. Yeah,
that bad?
It was that bad. Also agreeing to 4 women aborting children that I impregnated them with as well. That was very bad. And the aftermath of me, you know, trying to live my life, knowing what I've done, it was horrible. It was horrible.
All because you just wanted to find love, right? What about yourself, Mary? What was the worst point?
I would say the worst point was when, like, this was the third relationship now, third long-term relationship. I found out that I was pregnant. And it wasn't the pregnancy in itself, it was the timing of the pregnancy. And I'm telling you, that was really, really my lowest point. I really fell into a deep depression because I knew the person that I was with wasn't committed to me. In fact, I think after I found out that I was pregnant, I also found out that I got a sexually transmitted disease.
As well.
And I realised that I could have only got that because I didn't cheat on anyone. My partner cheated on someone and I contacted the disease via that. And that all came apparent, being pregnant. And then it was a few weeks later, he had travelled and like left me with everything. I got so depressed, my hair started to fall out. It was a really, really, really low point in my life at that point.
So, not easy, right, for both of you. But today, things have changed.
Yes.
Right? You're here on the sofa, showing us not only your past, but how did you both end up meeting one another?
Well, I was invited to a meeting at church through one of my friends. And this meeting was designed to help those who, you know, were either happy in love or were looking to change the situation that they were going through in their love life, and understanding, like, you know, that you could be happy.
So you never gave up?
I never gave up
on finding, you know, true happiness in your love life?
Yeah, no, I never gave up. I mean, at that point, I had finished. Well, not finished entirely, but I was coming to the point of like, look, I needed a change. I'd searched myself, and I just couldn't find the true happiness that I wanted. So, at the point in the time when my friend first invited me, I didn't agree straight away. Until the point where I hit rock bottom, and I was like, okay, let me give it a go. I've got nothing to lose.
Right.
So through attending those sessions, I really understood that, you know, first of all, I needed to value who I was.
Yeah.
It's better what you said before. I needed to respect who I was. And not that I had to be proud or think that I was better than other women out there, but I needed to have some kind of, you know, joy with who I was, like in life, before I could even think about entering into a relationship and making someone else happy. And I had scars that I needed to heal. Like, I almost had kind of like a vengeance towards men in the end. Like, I wanted happiness, but I didn't think that I could have it. So
how did you heal those scars? What was it, through prayer? What was it?
It was through prayers. It was through like really being open and honest with myself. Through changing my character, changing my trail of thought, my mindset, actually believing as well. Using like in the meetings, we were encouraged to make prayers. We were encouraged to you know, really not only just pray, but the things that we were being taught, to put it into actions. So that's what I started to do. And I also got the courage to like end that relationship because I knew it was bad for me, and to take some time out for myself.
Yeah.
So that really helped a lot.
Sammy, what about yourself?
The same meeting that, you know, Mary attended. You know, I also attended the same meeting at church.
You were invited, or
I was invited by my stepmom eventually to come to the church as well.
Okay.
And though I resisted many years, you know, it was the last door for me, because I got to a stage in life where there was no other hope for me, you know. But when I came, I found hope there. You know, I heard stories and testimonies of people who went through similar situations that I went through, and they had come out the other side. So that was encouraging for me, because within myself, though I know I went through a lot of issues and, you know, I made a lot of wrong choices, I still had a hope inside of me that one day I can make it.
So it wasn't just women there was men there as well.
There was men there as well, and I knew that one day, you know, given the opportunity, given the chance to learn to change, I can be happy one day. So the meeting also helped me as well.
I think we want to know, how did you both meet?
It was through
that same meeting.
The same meeting.
What happened?
Couples. Is that you can go ahead, because he approached me.
So I approached her, and I think I came from Birmingham, isn't it, at the time, and I approached her. I saw her, in fact, and I just asked her, you know, how her relationship was, how if she was single, if she was dating, if she was interested, if she was looking for somebody. She said yes, happily. So at the end, after the meeting, we began talking.
I think the key thing, it was just like, you know, through the meetings, we were learning how to use our faith, how to, you know, really make the changes. And I think at that point, it was the right time.
Yeah.
You know, like God, everything was just in the right place at the right time. Yeah. And I was at a position in my life where I wasn't depressed anymore. I'd gotten over all like the negativity that I had towards men, or like the situations that all happened. You know, I'd moved on in life, and I was, you know, happy with who I was, and it was almost like, you know, it was the right time.
It was.
Was your health also? I mean, you had a STD.
Yes, I was totally healed. Yeah, my hair was growing back. You know, I was, you know, doing the normal things.
So you're kind of ready to start.
Yeah, ready to start.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know, like as we said before as well, it's about valuing ourselves. That's what we learned. The key thing I learned is to value myself, because if I didn't value myself, then how can I then value somebody else? So the sessions really helped me, for me to change my mindset and my attitude about myself, because prior to that, I always saw myself as a failure. I didn't think I could do it. But the biggest thing that the session really helped me to overcome was for me to forgive myself. Because with all the things that I've done, it literally was weighing down my head for me to think to myself, you know, I wanted to kill myself because of those things. So for me to actually forgive myself, that was one of the biggest achievements that I got from that.
Right. And
that gave me the confidence to start believing, you know what, you can be happy. You can actually now make it. You can now make the right choices. And through the messages, the lessons we learned, you know, in the session, it gave me the courage and the guidance that, you know what, if you do things right, you can get it right.
Yeah.
And there was one more thing, sorry, just to say, as you were saying, like, I also learned, like, through the sessions to look for the right person for me that would be compatible with me. Because before, like I said, I would just, you know, not that I was easy, but I was, you know, the first person that was interested in me, I wanted to cling to that person. But now in the sessions I learned, like, it's much more than the physical, the outside, even though it's really important as well. But like, we have the same goals, the same visions.
So you basically,
you know, we're both, you know,
kind
matched.
You know, kind of studied the person, not studied, but you kind of interviewed them.
Do
we have likes and dislikes?
Do we have likes and dislikes, you know, background, things like that.
Right.
Things that quite values, morals, all those types of things. Really, you know, I learned to, you know, to not to test, but to kind of like interview and get to know the person in that respect. And then
and the key thing that I found in Mary and the two of us is that we have a history, we have a background, but we overcame it. We overcame the past. You know, and to me that is strong, because it means that in future terms, whatever battles we're going to come across in our marriage, we'll be able to overcome it.
When you asked her out, how long until you got married? How long was it?
3 years of dating, isn't it? Because I had to move from Birmingham.
Yeah.
You know,
so it's sorting yourselves out. I wasn't moving in together. Basically, sorting yourselves
Yeah.
out, setting up a future for yourself.
Yeah.
So 3 years
Yeah.
of
Around 3 years,
organisation.
Being engaged.
And how long have you been married now?
Coming up to 2 years in August.
2 years?
Yeah.
Really?
So we've known each other 5 years now, isn't it?
Yeah.
5 years.
Okay,
August the
brilliant.
31st.
Well done.
Thank you.
And can we have a kiss?
Of course. Mwah.
Did you get that on camera? Yeah? I think we did. So, happy today?
Yes.
Very happy.
Moving forward in life?
Yes.
You know, and there'll be some people that may say, oh, it's not going to last. But what can you say about this, about your relationship? Can you see yourselves together until death you part?
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
most definitely.
And what gives us the guarantee is that, you know, what we've been through, what we've learned. Like I was saying, you know, the fact that we've both overcome the past, that strength in itself, you know, gives us the confidence that no matter what comes ahead of us, divorce will never be, you know, in the option, because we can overcome anything.
Brilliant.
To overcome what we've been through.
And to say, even though we're married now, we still, you know, attend the sessions when we can, like the sessions that we went to initially.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we believe that
To
there's
top
always,
up.
to top up, and there's always room for
To learn.
improvements and
Yeah.
everything like to better ourselves. So we will never
In fact,
stop.
there's a marriage course tomorrow, isn't it, that we're attending to. So
Okay.
we're always learning. We have to learn.
Keep it going, all right? Thank you very much for sharing your story
Thank you
with
also.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go for a short break, and afterwards we're going to meet Mariana Dean, an expert who'll be talking more about this subject. We'll see after this.
What would you do if you had to protect a great treasure? If the answer is obvious when it comes to material wealth, it should be even more obvious when the treasure is greater: your marriage. In Bulletproof Marriage, the couple Renato and Cristiane Cardoso offer solid guidance to those who appreciate the value of their relationship and want to shield it against the risk of divorce. Besides their years of counselling thousands of couples, Renato and Cristiane present the hugely successful TV show The Love School, as well as marriage courses around the world. In over 2 decades, they have lived in 3 countries and have given hundreds of talks in more than 30 countries. Speaking from their long and sometimes troubled marriage experience, the couple offer practical tips to protect current and future relationships. To order your book online or for more information on the Love School event 2014, visit our site, theloveschoolevent.com. This event was brought to you by the UCKG Help Centre.
So welcome to the show, Mariana.
Hello.
So we're talking about relationships today. So my first question is, why do some people find it difficult to make and maintain relationships, whereas other people find it relatively easy?
Well, there could be various reasons for it. Quite often it's linked with our childhood. Most of the time we form our values and beliefs during our childhood, and that includes our perception of relationships. So how we see our parents, how we see people around us, how they interact with each other, how they treat each other, is very often an influence on our behavior in our own relationships, essentially. So just to give you an example, so if parents are too over-controlling, the chances are that a child or later on an adult might have problems with making decisions.
So the child won't mirror what the parents have done, so they themselves won't become overpowering. They will go the opposite. Is that what
exactly.
you're saying? Okay.
So they either try to act and treat other people the way they were treated by the parents, or they do the absolute opposite. So they treat you how they would not want to be treated.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you have any tips for somebody who maybe finds it very difficult to either make or maintain a relationship?
Sure, well, there are a few things you can do. I think first and foremost, we need to look at ourselves. Everything that we do starts within ourselves. And it's really important to start loving yourself. And when I say loving yourself, I don't mean become arrogant or cocky or, you know, any form of narcissism. I literally mean just be happy with yourself, accept yourself for who you are, appreciate who you are. You don't have to be perfect. We all make mistakes, and that's absolutely fine. It's actually part of our learning process. It's part of who we are. And only when you're happy with yourself and really comfortable with yourself, then you can have a good relationship with other people.
Okay, so that's one tip. Have you got any more, maybe for somebody who finds it difficult to maintain relationships, maybe with family members?
Yeah, sure. So another thing is, apart from love, the most important need that we have as human beings is appreciation. Every person, when they're appreciated, it ultimately enhances the way they behave. Each person's self-esteem is enhanced when he or she feels appreciated. You know, appreciation means looking at the positive side rather than the negative side. If something does something good for you, then praise them for it. Praise their strengths, praise their accomplishments. You know, just appreciate the very little details, the small things in life that we have will go a long way. Another important part is communication. It's really a lifeblood in every relationship. If you think about it, it's the way we express ourselves and the way we express our emotions. And if we don't communicate with each other, and that goes with parents and children, with lovers, you know, whoever it may be, work colleagues, then misunderstandings can occur, and that can often lead to tension between people, and this is really what you want to avoid. So be really open and really honest with each other. Tell each other how you feel, you know, what is it that you want from each other, and also don't guess what people are thinking, essentially. Ask them and go into detail, because that's really important. Don't assume, don't try and read minds.
So would you say that most family conflicts come from people not actually talking to each other?
I think so. I think very often we talk on a surface, but we don't actually go into the detail. And I think very often if we say to each other a certain scenario that we may be familiar with, then we assume that the results will be the same, or that the other person is maybe feeling exactly the same as we are. And the truth is, we're all very different. We all have completely different perception of life. We have different perception of relationships. You know, that's where the problems start. You know, we all see relationships completely differently. And very often we just don't go into it in details. In some cases, especially when you see parents and teenagers, you know, very often the teenagers might not want to share their problems, and parents are just assuming that they know everything, which, you know, we might know more, but not necessarily everything. And my last tip would be laughter. Through laughter, we can see ourselves more objectively, and we essentially learn about each other as well. So I think it's an important part of any family or any relationship, really. So laugh as much as you want. No, laugh as much as you can.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Very useful tips. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your love life or relationship, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord and my God, I pray, my Father, for people who are watching now, who are like Samuel and Mary in their past. People have been hurt by what they've seen and witnessed with their family. People who have lost all hope in ever finding happiness, in ever finding love. Maybe this person is in a relationship right now, but it's like a struggle. They keep fighting, disagreeing with one another, and they don't know what to do. Maybe this person is thinking of leaving their partner. They're thinking of giving up, maybe thinking of ending their own lives. My God, there is still hope. If this person is willing to fight for that relationship, fight to find true happiness. So Lord, if there's anyone here who's lost their self-esteem, people who are not confident in themselves, this person who doesn't believe that they can truly find happiness, my God, remove all these negative ideas. Remove this negative mindset. Remove this doubt, this low self-esteem, this depression, and help this person to start again and to really believe in themselves. Really believe that you have something greater for them. So Lord, let this water now purify, cleanse this person. Wash away all that is negative. And may this person, my God, start valuing themselves in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Drink this water now and let God do his work inside of you. In Jesus' name. As Samuel and Mary said, and Mariana said as well, everything starts with you, okay? You start the ball rolling. It's between you now, you and God, but he's always there to help you. And I believe you will find happiness in your love life. Until the same time tomorrow, have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.